I'm Bob from Hauptwerk Hardware, and in this video we're going to take a look at this. It's a new idea that I came up with in response to all of you guys who have written in and asked me which is the best type of hookup wire to use and which is the best solder wire to use, and also is it easy to solder to these little solder pads that we use on all the new boards. So the idea is that this is just a circuit board that doesn't actually do anything electrically, but it's covered in these little solder pads which you can use to just practice on. So let's take a closer look at this board, how you can use it, how you can practice it and practice with it, and what you can do with it. Okay, so in the solder practice kit you get the board, you get some hookup wire, and you get some solder wire. Now, lots of people have asked about the hookup wire. This is the stuff that I use. It's stranded. It's 7 strands of 0.2mm copper wire, tinned copper wire, so it looks silver when we strip the insulation away. The solder wire is leaded solder. It's just what I prefer. I think it's easier to use. And up the centre of that, which you won't be able to see without a microscope, is 7 cores of flux. So every time you use some of this solder, as soon as you touch it to the soldering iron, the flux is inside the solder. As the solder melts away, the flux becomes activated by the heat and it cleans the joint. And these are really the only thing that's going to give you a decent connection in pretty much any electronics, really, unless you're looking at kind of stuff with cables the size of my finger, in which case obviously you'd use a different type of solder. So for organs and this type of work, this is what I would recommend. Now, lots of people have said, oh well, we can't get this type of cable in our country, and can we use just single cord cable? And the answer is yes, you can. It will solder onto the board just the same as this stuff does, but because it's single cord, this is quite flexible. Okay, so if you've got that soldered on there and you move this around, it's easy to hold the end of it and move this cable around. There's not a huge amount of stress on this end part. But if you do that with a solid core cable, then what tends to happen is that if you do it repeatedly, the cable will break because it's going to be bending around its own, the same point along the cable. And if it breaks inside the insulation, it's quite hard to find. So you can get problems with that. So definitely I recommend this. If you can't get it, it may be possible that we can ship some to you. It depends on the shipping cost, obviously, because this wire is actually pretty cheap. 100 meters of this is about £10, something like that. But then you've got shipping costs, and that may be quite high because it weighs quite a lot. 100 meters of this, I don't know what it weighs, probably half a kilo, £1, just over £1, something like that. But anyway, this is definitely the stuff you want to use if you can. The solder, the important part about this is the flux up the middle and the amount of flux up the middle. Now you can get this stuff in all different types and variants, really, and the higher the percentage of flux within the solder, the easier it is to use. So this is 3.3% of flux in this solder. But a lot of the ones that if you just go onto Amazon and look at them on there, places like that, it's either 0.9, I think it is, or 1.2% or something flux. Now those will work, but they won't work as well as this. This is going to be much easier to use. So it's worthwhile, if you don't already have some, spending some time trying to find some solder with a high flux content. And as I say, 3.3% is really good. You probably won't find anything higher than that. I'd be surprised if you do, and in fact I'd be surprised if you easily find this 3.3% stuff. In the UK, this is available through a company called RS Components, and it's what they call their professional range or something, and it comes with 1001 health warnings. which is appropriate really because it's leaded solder. So this is lead, 60% lead, 40% tin I think it is, and there, so you've got this flux in there as well. As you'll see in a minute, when we use it, you get some smoke comes off of this which you really don't want to be breathing in. So you need to do all of your work in a reasonably well ventilated area, or have a fan or an extractor or something that's going to keep you safe from this stuff. But that said, I've been using it now for nearly 50 years, and I'm still here. Probably not in as good a shape as I was 50 years ago, but I'm still with us. So I don't think you've got too much to worry about, just as long as you're sensible. So the board itself, the reason that it's got all of these little solder pads in these configurations, so you've got 4 here, you've got 2, 4, 6 in this, well, say 2, 4, 6, yeah, in this configuration, and on the end, the other side, you've just got a single row of them. And the idea of this is that it mimics to some degree the way these pads are laid out on our products. So this little quadrant idea of 4, that's used on the motorized stop controllers. These ones are used on some, I think on the lighted pistons and on lighted stop controllers, and these long ones are used all over the place on some of the other products as well. So it's double-sided. You get to have a go many times, so that's not a problem. So let's have a look at how we can practice with this and find out how resilient these little pads are and everything else. So the next thing to talk about really is the soldering iron, because we haven't looked at that yet. So that's my soldering iron. It's pretty old, as you can see. I've had this, oh, how long have I had this? I've had this about 42, 44 years, something like that. This was given to me at my first job when I was a trainee at 18 years old, and it's still going, and you can see how old it is just from the look of the thing. But this is a professional one. It's thermostatically controlled, so yeah, I guess it's designed to last forever. The important parts about it though, or points about it, if you're going to buy a soldering iron, is that it has a small thin tip, and the tip is replaceable, and also the soldering iron is not huge. You can get some, I don't know, I guess maybe for car wiring, automotive wiring or something, they have very wide tips. The tips are somewhere around 5mm across, and you absolutely don't want that because these pads are only kind of 3 or 4mm across. So that's the first thing. Get something that's a reasonable size. Also, it wants to be light and comfortable to hold because you're going to be using it quite a lot. And you need a stand or something to put it in. This just sits in there in that little spring. It gets warm, but it can't do any harm. If you don't have a stand and you're forever putting it down, it's not going to be very long before it ends up at a funny angle. The end of it touches whatever you put it on, and something's going to get damaged. And if you're really unlucky, as I found out the hard way many years ago, if you just leave it there, the time will come when you forget about it and you manage to touch it, lean on it, stand on it, or do something else, and it's working at kind of 400 degrees. It's going to hurt if you do that, so it's worthwhile getting some sort of stand with it. So that's the first thing about that. Second thing is this stand, if I just turn it at an angle so we can see, it's got this sponge in the bottom, and this is soaked in water, and the idea is that you need to keep this tip clean, so we can kind of clean it on this sponge like that. It gets steam cleaned obviously because it's hot and that's covered in water. So now you can see at the end of this, the very last kind of 1/4 inch, 5mm or so, is nice and shiny. And if we touch the solder to that, that just melts instantly, and it just gives it a little protective coating. And you can see the smoke coming off of it, and that is the flux burning, and it's doing its job. That's what makes it nice and wet, as we call it, really, to sit on the end of the iron. So that's what we are aiming for. So I'll just put that to one side. So now let's look at how we can connect one of our wires to one of these solder pads on here. So the first thing we need to do, I've got some wire strippers here. These are Amazon's Finest, or Amazon Basics, so they're super cheap. I think they're about I don't know, £8 or something. Maybe they're a bit more, but not much. And they call them automatic wire strippers, and they are absolutely brilliant. Best thing I've ever come across in terms of tools. They don't last very long in daily use. I think I'll probably get about a year out of it. These little things break and the spring flies off, and then obviously they don't work anymore, but as a basic tool, they're brilliant. So you just put the wire in there, squash the thing like that, and it just immediately strips the insulation from the end of the wire, which is good, because if you try the alternative, just cut that bit off, which is using some wire cutters and just trying to judge how hard to kind of press, and then you've got to pull it off. Well, yeah, it succeeded. Although bear in mind I've been doing this for quite a long time before these came along. But if I just run my fingers on it, you can feel where these strippers have actually damaged, the cutters have actually damaged the copper inside. It's really rough. Now, that's not the end of the world, but if for next to no money you can get something that's going to do it perfectly every time, then that's got to be the way to go in my mind. So let's chop that bit off, do this again. So we just peel that bit off the end. Now, you've got 7 strands of wire here, which if you kind of push it, they're gonna separate apart. So that's going to be quite hard to see. Can I get that to there you go. So you can sort of see what happens is they come apart like that. So you either need to solder these things immediately after you've taken the insulation off, or you can kind of twist them back together if they become disturbed, and then we can use it like that. So either way, doesn't really matter. But the first thing we've got to do, if we want to solder this to that, is that we need to tin both of these. So it's called tinning, and basically all it is, we're going to melt this solder onto this wire so that it's soaked up by the wire, if you like. The wire becomes like a wick when it's really hot, and it will hold all of this solder inside the between all of those little strands of wire. So all we've got to do, clean our iron first on its little sponge. It's important that you put the wire with solder and then heat it up. Some people, you see, for some reason kind of try and just get some solder on the end of the iron and then try and put it on the wire, and that won't work. It might hold the thing together, but you'll get a horrible bad joint. So we put the wire against the solder and we heat the thing up and just wiggle it around a bit, and now hopefully you can see that that's nice and shiny and already soaked up with solder. And then we do the same thing to the board. So if we want to solder that to, let's say, this pad here, we heat the pad and we apply the solder, and that's it. So you can now see, hopefully, if we can do this without the light reflecting off of it, that you've got like a little mound of solder on there, and that's all clean and fresh and ready to go. And that took, you know, half a second, so there's no danger of overheating any of these pads and causing problems, because people say, oh yeah, if you get the pads too hot though, they fall off the board. Yeah, they do, but you've got to get them really hot for that to happen. So we've tinned our wire, we've tinned our pad. Let's put the two together. So if we just heat it up with the iron like that, put the wire into the molten solder on the board, and there it is. That's one solder joint. Now, what I was saying, you see, I can move this wire around and you can see that it's bending sort of about here. Okay, and you can do that all day long, it won't break off. But if you have solid wire, solid cord wire, what will happen is it will bend here, right on the edge of the joint, and it will snap off quite quickly. And that really isn't what you want, because there's a good chance that whilst you're putting your console together, things are going to get moved around. It's only natural, and you don't want things to break off, because it's really frustrating when you put the whole thing together, you do all of that work, and then when you're finished, it doesn't work properly. It doesn't work the way you want it to. So if you can, use this stuff. So the next thing is, well, okay then, so how strong is this? I say people are worrying about this. So if I pull this, Okay, so I'm pulling this now, I'm pulling this really hard. It's lifting the board off. You know, we're really putting some effort into this. Okay, and actually, yep, that was the solder joint that failed. Okay, that pad is still, if I heat this up you'll see, that pad is still good as new, happily attached to the board. So let's solder this back on. There we are, and that's fine. So, okay, what about if we overheat one of these pads? So let's try that. So we put some solder on it and we'll just keep the iron on there for a long time. And you can smell that now. It smells like that electrical burning smell. But still the pad is attached. I'm giving it some mechanical stress as well. I'm trying to make that fail. There you go, it's failed. Okay, so the pad has now left the board. Okay, that's broken. Now if that happens on your product, on your device that you've bought from us, that is not covered under the warranty, unfortunately. It is also not repairable. There is no way that you can stick that pad back on that board, and there's also no way that you can solder a wire to it because it's not there anymore. You can't solder to what isn't there. So that's the idea of this kit. It lets you see how easy it goes together with the right materials, because the kit includes some of this wire and it includes some of this solder. And you can put these things together and you can try this out for yourself, and you can get a feel for how brutal you can be with these things before they fail. And it's much better to do that on a cheap little practice board like this than it is on your encoder or something else that you've paid kind of £300 or £400 for, because you don't want to be breaking those, because as I said, they're not covered under the warranty. So that's the idea of the practice board. There's lots of pads on it. It's double-sided, so you can try it over and over and over and really get the hang of it. If you buy solder locally, if you can't get hold of this stuff, again, you've got some of this you can try this with, like we just did, and then you can try it with your local solder and see if it's harder to use, and you can, that's the whole point. You can just try everything out, practice, and you'd be surprised how quickly you build up your skill level actually for soldering, and I'd say, you know, very quickly you'll be quite happy and confident to use this method. So that's it really. That's the solder practice kit. That's what it's for. I hope it helps you guys out. It's on the website, or if it isn't, it will be very, very shortly. It's cheap and cheerful, and hope that helps. Just one final word on the solder wire actually. Again, if you really can't get this stuff, it may be possible that we can buy it here in the UK and then ship it to you. But obviously it's lead, therefore it's heavy. I mean, the normal roll that I use, which is this, we've got a number of these, but it's only a little roll, but that is 500 grams, I think. Yeah, it is. So 500 grams of solder on that little reel. So the weight of that goes up, therefore the shipping cost goes up. But anyway, hope that's helpful, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.